Hello, friends. On today's episode of the podcast, we have Joel Borch. Joel is a good friend of mine, and he's very in depth with the entertainment district of Old Town Scottsdale. Joel is a manager at one of my favorite places called Skylanes. On the podcast, Joel and I talk about every aspect of life, whether it was, what he's done with his family to now what he does for a living. And Joel, I have to be honest, is probably one of the happiest human beings I've met in my life. And it was an honor and a privilege to sit down with him and talk about how he's accomplished that part of his life.
Here come the boys. Y'all ready to go swimming, baby? Come on. Give it up. Get out of that water. I tried telling y'all, it's swim lessons, baby.
Joel, thank you so much for coming in, brother. How you feeling?
Man, I'm a little buzzed.
That's all right. That's all right. How has your day been today?
Oh, God, man. I did laundry for like the first time in a year.
You did your own laundry?
I did my own.
That's dope. You got a big birthday coming up, right?
Yeah, turning 24.
20. I thought for sure you were going to say 21. Well, Joel, tell us a little bit. Let's just start off right from the get-go. You are wearing where you come from today, Skylanes. You're the general manager?
I'm the assistant
general manager. Okay.
But that's how we met, right?
Yep.
The Skylines? Cool.
Yep.
I was wondering how we met.
Yeah, I was a patron.
Dallas is an alcoholic.
Oh, my God. No, I'm not.
He comes in a lot. Here and there.
So how did you get into the bar industry, if you will?
Oh, that's a great question. Wow, that's a great question. When I was in the Army, right out of high school.
Okay.
And I was stationed in Washington, D.C.
Ooh.
And it's a cool job. But I was in the color guard there in D.C. and I had the evenings free. And I don't know if anyone knows, an enlisted guy in the Army doesn't make much.
Yeah.
So I moonlighted as security at a nightclub.
A bouncer.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we considered ourselves, we didn't like the word bouncer. Like, it sounds like, an unprofessional. We were
right.
Anyways, and I did that at this club for 4 years in D.C. And it was a crazy club. It just closed last month. And it was open like 20 years. And I was there for 4 years of it, like towards the beginning.
Okay.
And it was like the number one club in town. It was nuts.
Okay.
Fit like 3,000 people. It was crazy.
Wow.
And first year I was all over the place. In the last 3 years, I worked the front door of it. And I did that. And I remember when I was in the Army, I was like, man, when I get out, I'll go back into this industry, but not on the security side of things, more on the food and beverage side. And that's exactly what I did. I left D.C. and was at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, deployed to Afghanistan with the 101st Airborne. And when I got back, I got out of the Army and started at the bottom as a food runner at a fine dining restaurant and did fine dining for 5 years. Opened Steak 44.
Oh,
was a server
beautiful
there.
place.
Thanks.
Shout out Steak 44.
Yeah, was a server there for a minute, and then got into management and started managing. And I was the GM of a bar called the Beverly, right around the corner. And then tried to open a club, didn't really work out. Shout out to Cirque. It was open for like 4 months.
I remember Cirque, dude.
Yeah.
That's
Shout out crazy.
Cirque.
That's a whole other chapter.
Yeah, we can cover
that's
that later.
That's a whole podcast. That's week 8 and 9. And then ended up with a company called EEG. And they have about 20 bars. And
they're big down here, right?
They're big in Arizona. I'd say they're the biggest in Arizona, period. But been with them for a little over 2 years now. We have a bar called Skylanes, and we're a boutique bowling alley.
Well, what's kind of nice about Skylanes, Joel, is it's like a small, tight-knit community. Whereas like what I call the Mecca off Saddlebag Trail, it's like the entertainment district. But what you guys do nice at Skylanes is you walk in, you see you say hello, Alexa, everybody else, Emily, whoever else is working, they say hi. They're nice. Where some of these other spots, I mean,
they're great too. But
they're great too. But you get
exactly
lost.
Right. You're exactly right. We've made it to where it's more of a we're not so much we're happy to take people's money and do bottle service, but we're more bar heavy than bottle heavy at the tables. Yeah. And so in order to do that, you have to create that community. Yeah. And you have to have your regulars.
Well, and you've done a great job. And I mean, was that something that you brought to the table and you're like, hey guys, I want to try this out?
I've done it everywhere I go.
Yeah.
I always have a following. I've always you know how it is. You build your own business. Yeah. You're a business no matter where you go. You're your own business. And so that was obviously the big thing I brought to the table was that I have built my own business and I haven't really burned too many bridges in this town. And so and I'm actually good friends with the owners. I've known them forever. And when they brought me into their company, they say don't work with your friends. It's a bad idea, but like honestly, it's a good idea. You'll find out who your real friends are if you work with them. So we've had nothing but like good. Everything's been perfect. I've never worked for a better company.
Well, yeah, and you guys do like unique things like Bachelor Monday, which I know you're a big fan of the Bachelor. When did you get big into the Bachelor? Was it right off the get-go?
Like 3 years ago. And I just think it's awesome.
I got to tell, so every Monday I try to meet up with Joel and we have a few drinks, and our friend Billy Madison is there too. And we all like The Bachelor. It's a secret. Well, Billy. It's not a secret for me. But yeah, shout out Billy Madison. And one time I was sitting kind of across the bar from Joel, and Joel was sitting by himself kind of pacing because he's into it. It's like an NFL game and it's on all the screens, all the loudspeakers, and one of the chicks was talking kind of shit to Pete, and I just hear Joel go, fuck. Like a quarterback just threw an interception or something. It was just awesome.
I get really into it.
Dude, you're awesome.
Yeah, great.
Let's go back to your early days in the military. What led you to that? I mean, that's an interesting part of your life that not many people know about, and something
it doesn't really apply to anything I do now.
Yeah, and that's just kind of interesting
at all.
Man.
Except for, I will say, a lot of people are like, how is this guy so drunk and running this bar and doing this and like showing up to meetings on time and or podcasts? You're like, how is he doing? I was in the Army. When I was in the Army, I was an infantryman in the Army, and the infantry is like, you're on your legs, it's very physical.
Yeah.
You're the front line. And I remember there's this guy from Time Magazine followed us around my platoon. We were running, and we go out, we get shit-faced and blacked out. The next day we'd be running 10 miles. This guy was like, these are the most physically fit alcoholics I've ever met. That's a quote. And it's kind of the same thing. I've never really stopped. It's not like a new thing. It's just, it's your brain just gets so used to doing the same exact thing over. It's repetitive. And so that the Army is kind of what has shaped me into where I am, the same person for the last 15 years.
Work hard, play hard.
Work hard and play hard, and never let it get in the way of work, and no matter what. And so, that the Army, a lot of people don't know it. That's the only part of it that it does apply to my job to this day. Otherwise, nothing of it applies, period.
But that's a big part of it, right? You're on time to everything. You show up. You're giving 100% effort. You're trying to make people feel comfortable. It's a team aspect of things.
Yeah, you're serving people, just like
but your dad was in, like we were chatting earlier before we went live here. Your dad was in it too. Did that contribute? Like, hey, I want to follow in Pop's footsteps, or what was the case with that?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Like, I think I wanted to be a Marine growing up, and by the time I was grown up, and I was like, all right, I'm from Tucson. I was like, I'm getting out of Tucson.
The dirty T.
Yeah, everyone tries to get out of Tucson. Either they go to ASU or they join the Army,
Yeah.
But they get out of Tucson.
They got to get out.
And my dad was like, all right, well, please don't be infantry. We were in the middle of a war, it was 2005. He's like, please just don't be in the infantry, you'll be on the front line. And I was like, all right, I won't be a Marine. And he's also said don't be a Marine, obviously. And I was like, but I'm going to be in the infantry. Like, I want to fight. I want it to be fun. And so, yeah, my whole family, my brother and I went to Afghanistan together.
What was that like, Joel?
Afghanistan, I get asked that a lot, but people that know I was in the Army, and like, it's definitely not table talk. It was
totally
miserable.
understand.
It was shitty.
Yeah.
It's an experience, that you shared with, especially in the infantry. So it's like,
group.
It's definitely not a place I like to go.
Yeah, no.
And and it's cool. Like, we lost a lot of friends out in the infantry. You lose a lot of buddies, and you when that happens, you want to live. For me personally, you could take it a few ways. You could take it like, I lost my buddy, and a lot of guys do, and I understand PTSD and all that. But for me, luckily, I took it as, all right, I'm going to live my life to the fullest because those guys are dead, like they didn't get to. I'm going to freaking triple, double, quadruple it. Yeah. And that's literally my outlook on life, and I really do. And I feel like I give it my best shot every day to like just enjoy the day. If I'm sitting inside and I see it's 69 degrees outside, I'm like, oh, I'm not living my life to full. Let's get outside now. Like, let's definitely try to seize the day.
Well, that's exactly what this podcast is about. I mean, swim lessons, it's about living your life every day. It's exactly what you just said.
Yeah, perfect.
And it's trying to maintain that healthy lifestyle of just living your life to the most, whether, you're in the military, you're working at a bar, you're doing comedy, you're doing whatever, and you just do a great thing. So is there a philosophy every day that you wake up to other than, hey, not a cliche thing, but I want to live my life. What do you wake up and you're like, Joel, we got to do this today. We got to accomplish this.
For me, if there was a philosophy, this pops into my head every day, is just no stress. So the minute something becomes stressful, I notice it right away, and I'm like, whoa, you're not allowed to be stressed out. Mm-hmm. You're not allowed to be, and so I don't let it stress me out. And people sometimes confuse that with I don't care, right? Because I do care, but I don't want to be stressed, and so. It's not, if you're stressed, you're just going to not enjoy it. You're going to miss everything. And it's too bad. Some people get stressed. Here's a great story. Yeah. I'd been in the Army. I don't tell anyone the story. This is good. I've told a few friends, some of my close friends. Yeah. But it's good. I got into fine dining right out of the Army. I was the bottom of the barrel, running food out of a kitchen, just doing whatever the chef told me. Before that, I was making people do push-ups and in their face and spitting in them and, hell, that's my job. I was a sergeant when I was in the Army and I got out. But now I'm starting right at the bottom again, and the chef's in my face. He's throwing knives at me, and, I have no problem with, following orders, so it's like, that doesn't bug me. It's like, oh, well, I was a sergeant. You can't talk to me like that, so I was like, I'm in a new industry. So there I am, and this lady at the steakhouse, her steak's overcooked, and she's flipping out. It's ruined her whole life. She is just upset. She's almost crying because her steak's overcooked. Her $100 steak that she ordered, well done. Like, of course it's overcooked. Why would you order a $100 steak well done? Yeah. An amazing steak well done. Like, that's stupid to begin with. You've already ruined it. Yeah. And now you're upset. She's like, and I'm like sitting there about to I've only been out of the Army a few months. I was just in Afghanistan, literally carrying dead babies in a trash bag. Yeah. And this lady, and I've had some shitty days, and she's upset because her steak's overcooked. And I remember that was like, I was like, I don't know why I brought this up, but yeah, that was like, what? Like, it was so confusing to me. I was like, how is this lady letting that ruin her day? And I wanted to be like, what are you talking about? This has really ruined your day? Like, it ruined it for her. Yeah. Totally. Well, it's unfortunate that some people look at it like that way, but it makes you feel a lot better about yourself. That hey, I don't look at life in a negative. It makes you look at everything. It's totally hard to like. It's really puts everything, and it's also tough because it puts everything in perspective. And so like when I talk to an upset customer, 10 times a week, I'll go, "What is it that's ruined your day?" And I try my hardest to like not say it like that because there's no way you're gonna get me to understand that it's ruined your day. I'm like, look, this is really not a big, like, what can I do to help you? Like, this isn't a big deal. Yeah. But I can't say that, you gotta like, let them understand that it is a big deal. But
yeah, totally, man.
But obviously in your head, it's not a big deal. It's like, come on.
This is nothing, man.
We'll make you another drink.
Yeah. Relax. I want to go back to when you started off as a bouncer, because I think I get a kick out of bouncers every time I go into a club, because
that's fun.
They're like, we're talking a lot about front line, but they are the front line of defense. They have to deal with all the drunks. They have to deal with the guys. Hey, give me 20. I know Joel upstairs. Come on, man. And I'm guilty of that too. I've done that a lot. But what was it like for you, kind of coming into that realm and being like that brand new guy on the bouncer squad? Do you have any cool stories?
Man, I was the great bouncer.
Yeah.
People would like, what? I grew up in Tucson. There's not a lot of African Americans. So like, so you get bad at facial recognition because you just grew up in Tucson. So you're like, oh, I have to be able to tell like the dimple or something. And so like, they would a group of African Americans walk up to me and give me all their IDs at the same time, and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know who's who. Like, I can't match this with that. It was painful. Yeah. So that would happen. That was always hilarious. I'd be like, yeah, here you go, and hand it back, the whole stack. And I'd be like, I wonder if they know they just got me. Like, I can't tell.
I can't say, yeah. Totally.
And then another fun thing would be a guy and a girl always walk up, and they'll be like, the guy would carry, back in the day, the guy would always carry the girl's ID.
Ooh.
Because she didn't have pockets. She had a dress on. She didn't want to carry her purse.
Yeah.
So he'd give me his ID and her ID at the same time, and I'd be like, all right, who's who?
Right. Yeah, no shit.
They get all offended, and I'd be like, all right, nah. I'd be like,
easy asshole.
I'd be like, who's the girl and who's the guy? All right, who's who? But if I did that to the African American group, they'd be like, all right, who's who?
Yeah. All right, guys.
So I had a fucking blast at the front door, and people love me. Like, But you do deal with people all night long, and some nights you do just lose your shit because you're talking to thousands of people left and right. So I would be like, hey, I need to take a week off. I can't talk to anyone for a week. Mm-hmm. So, and that was even harder than the bouncers in Scottsdale. In Scottsdale, we don't charge cover at doors.
Like New Year's Eve.
For the most part, for the most part. But in most other cities, most clubs charge cover.
I know.
Every night.
Oh, I know.
And that's even more painful. You're not only like trying to get them in,
making change
because they have the wrong ID or something like that. They're trying to cut a line. And they don't want to pay cover. Right. Like it's a whole painful. It's just painful trying to talk them out of like. So Scottsdale's got it pretty made. And so when I see a bouncer in Scottsdale that's rude to a guest, I'm just like, man, come on. You're like the front line. You've got it made. You're getting money so they can. I don't mind if you take money for them to cut lines. You know, It's like that's good.
What Scottsdale's coming into an interesting realm, and I want to talk to you about this because it's kind of becoming. I heard somebody last weekend call it a mini Vegas, the new Nashville, the new kind of place where bachelorette parties like to come. What have you seen on your end, Joel, that Scottsdale's kind of adapting, if you will, as a party city?
It's funny you say that. When I was stationed in Kentucky, I lived next 30 minutes from Nashville, so I partied in Nashville a lot. And then I went to Nashville like last year, and in 10 years from when I lived there to now, it's blown up and it's insane. It's like Nashville? 50 Scottsdales on one strip.
Really?
Each bar it could fit all of that Saddlebag Scottsdale area. Each bar.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know if you watched the draft. The NFL draft was there this year. It's hundreds of thousands of people. Hundreds of thousands. Whereas Scottsdale, we can't fit in that area. We can't fit more than 20,000 people. That's exaggerating. We probably can't fit more than 10,000.
Right.
20,000 would be nuts. So we're very, very micro compared, to a lot. But our numbers are insane. We get some huge clients, some huge people, big celebrities. Scottsdale is more athletes than celebrities. So you won't see a single movie star for a year. But you'll see the most popular. Mike Trout came into Skylanes the night before he signed his contract, which was $320 million, something like that.
It was just a little chunk of change.
Yeah, the largest contract in sports history.
Yeah, 460. Nikki says 460.
Okay, the night before at Skylanes for 6 hours, the whole night. And girls are like, "Who's that?"
The night, Devin Booker, but the night before he got his All-Star thing, he was in there.
He's in all the time. I got a great Devin Booker story. He's like, I love Devin Booker. He comes in a lot, nice. And he did his birthday with us this last year too, and he's really, really nice. And I just will always take care of him because I always take care of nice people.
Yeah,
And so and it's not rich people, it's nice people, and he happens to be rich and nice, so it's like a double bonus. But we had Machine Gun Kelly and Young Thug in one night.
Ooh.
And they're like, hey, we want to stay later. We can't sell alcohol after 2, but you can bowl. And when I was like, all right, man, you want me to stay here and let you bowl after 2 a.m. Fine. That's fine. You got to pay this much money. And they're like, because I want to go home and go to bed, but I got to run these lanes for these guys. And I go, well, it's whoever you want up here, it's just your friends. And so Young Thug's like, that's it. There was like 12 of them. He's like, no one else is allowed in here, period. It's 12 people.
Really?
And I go, okay. And all these Suns players try to get in. And they go, let us up. And I go, no, we're closed. I was like, Young Thug and Machine Gun Kelly own us right now. No one's coming up here. And this Suns player looks at me. He goes, well, what if Devin Booker tries to walk in? And I go, I'll let him right in. And so I didn't even know. And, of course, Devin Booker comes in. So random. And he's sitting on lane 6, and I walk over and I tell him, I was like, Devin, you won't believe what just happened.
Yeah.
I tell him, and he's dying laughing. I was like, I'll let him right in. And I did. I let him right in. And Young Thug and Machine Gun Kelly might not have known who he was. I'm not sure. They probably do. But they didn't give a fuck. They were just like, we had a blast. They've actually, out of, not to name drop, but outside of the athletes, Machine Gun Kelly has hung out at Skylanes more than any other hip-hop artist or celebrity.
Really?
He loves it there. He's hung out probably 6 times at Skylanes. And one weekend, he just kind of camped out with us. It was cool.
That's awesome.
And that was really – he played an album that he had just recorded on the airplane, with his iPhone. It was cool as hell. It was a really cool experience. It was for one of our buddies' birthdays. It was neat.
That's so sick. Dude, what? I really liked – oh, go ahead. No, I don't want to stop you.
But the difference in Scottsdale is, so we don't get, you'll have Pauly D from Jersey Shore, and all the girls in Scottsdale are dying, and they're like, oh my God, let me get to him. And they're like killing you to get to him. And then you'll have, no offense to Pauly D, but like, not a big deal compared to someone that signed a $460 million contract.
Right.
And Mike Trout sitting there and girls standing right next to him and not know who he is, or James Harden or LeBron James. Like, we have them all at Skyline. They all come up. And so we get all these athletes, and that might be why athletes like it. Girls around Scottsdale just don't know anything about sports. Period. So it doesn't matter. Like, when LeBron James was up, all his security was like, he had way too much security. And
really?
Like,
how many? Try us a number.
I don't know, 10, 15.
Really?
So it was a little too much.
Surrounding him.
You needed maybe 2 guys.
Yeah.
He didn't need that. No one cares.
Right.
No one knows who he is.
Yeah.
These girls don't know. They
Right.
just don't follow sports.
Right.
So if he's not in a movie, they're not going to know who he is. And
Space Jam.
Yeah. So
coming
maybe,
up.
Yeah. Sounds like a sports movie. Probably won't watch it. But yeah.
What was MGK like when you're talking to him? Because I mean, I really liked him in The Dirt.
Obviously, he smokes weed.
Yeah.
He's really, really nice. Yeah, I even though I keep all my emotions aside, I don't fan out on the outside.
Yeah.
So like,
we can if you're the
so
manager.
I don't fan out. I don't do photos with them. I let them have their privacy. So like, him and I actually, it actually works out for me. I hit it off well with all of them because I'm not sitting there like fanning out, even though I do know who they are. And I let them know, I respect the shit out of you, especially MGK, because I love The Dirt.
Yeah.
And I've actually, before The Dirt, have loved MGK.
Me too.
And so it was cool. And the first time he was in, we had a blast. Like I said, it was just a small group of us. So I actually got to like hang out and party. We put a trash can in the middle of the street, and we're throwing basketballs off the Skylanes into the trash can. And so we came back the second time. My buddy Ben Hargis is friends with him, and he goes, hey, I want to introduce you to Joel. And Machine Gun Kelly goes, I know Joel. He's like, I was here. We partied hard the last time. He's like, in fact, you're going to be in my new music video. Young Thug and I got a lot of footage from that night. What? And I was like, sick. And Hargis, my buddy's like, oh.
Okay.
Actually, it was Skrilla.
Oh,
Skrilla was like, oh. And Skrilla's like my brother. Really? I don't know how I didn't tell Skrilla about that.
So for everybody listening, Skrilla, what's his? He's the guy with the blonde curly hair, right?
Skrilla is like just a great guy, and he's been partying. We'll get him on here one day.
Okay, hell
and
yeah.
He's been partying around town for a long time, and he is into real estate, into the marijuana business, and very tight. And just because I don't want to say the scene, but he's
the guy.
Yeah, and just so happens that his stepbrother and I are best friends and live together.
Who's this?
My buddy, my roommate Max.
Okay, cool.
Like when I came in here, someone called me, and
that was him.
And I was like, I was like, hey, I'm gonna go do this podcast thing. I'll be right back. And then he called me, and he's like, I had to tell you this funny story. I was like, remember I was on the phone. I was like, yeah, cool, man. I'm not busy.
Well, I kind of a random thing. I met Skrilla, and I met Matthew Morgan. He's also in the cannabis industry, and it was just at a random party afterwards. We were partying at Skylanes, and I ran into those guys.
Yeah, they're up there all the time. Matt, Matt and Skrilla work together a little.
Okay,
and I've known Matt for 5 years.
He's doing really well for himself.
Yeah, he's crushing it.
He's
amazing. He's always been amazing. He's always like.
Well, he's from Montana. He's a Montana kid.
Yeah, him and my buddy Cody. Like they're both.
Shit.
Yeah, Cody and them.
Because I'm from North Dakota. My mom's from Montana.
Oh, really?
So yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a kind of a different. It's weird. The Midwest vibes are very. You kind of come from a small town. You treat people 100% different.
Oh, they do.
Yeah.
And like those guys can sense bullshit a mile away.
Yeah.
And I think that's a part of the reason they do so well. Cody Alt and Matt Morgan just crush in their industry, and part of it is being from that Yellowstone area.
Yeah, hell yeah.
They really do sense bullshit a mile away. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of nice, especially when you're a guy that's just like doesn't really bullshit much,
Yeah.
So it works out good.
Now, let's go back just a pinch to before you became the guy at Skylanes. What were you up to?
I was working with a couple friends, Brian and Eric, that bought a bar called the Beverly, and we had opened that.
I like that place.
The Beverly crushes.
Yeah,
it's awesome. And the three of us built that concept, and we just were like, we came in, and it was a really fancy bar. It was called the Beverly. Mm-hmm. These guys owned it, and they created it, and they put it for sale. They weren't making money, and Brian and Eric bought it, and they were looking for a GM, and someone told them about me, and I was like, hell yeah. I was out of work at the time. I was working, but like not really doing it. So I came in and we got the Beverly. We kept the name and we changed it to the Beverly on Main.
Okay.
And instead of, because you're in Scottsdale, it was supposed to be like a classy bar or craft cocktail, but that doesn't really work in Scottsdale so much because we're kind of chugging drinks.
Yeah. Definitely.
So we kept it. We changed the concept. We called it Classy AF.
Cool.
And so like when you do a trademark, they won't let you cuss. So the AF stands for and fun.
Yeah.
But it really stands for classy as fuck.
Yeah.
And we use that, and people thought the bar was called Classy as Fuck for a while. It was kind of funny, but it's called the Beverly, and that's what we went with on everything. So like all our drinks are like, we use high-end liquor, on everything, but then it would be like a vodka soda,
right?
So, and it's worked for the Beverly, and it's really cool. And that
they've just got a good vibe in there.
Yeah,
it's
I'm glad
awesome.
you go there. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
We had fun building that. That was awesome. And now they have a guy named Luis that runs it, and it's still Brian and Eric that own it, and we're still really good friends.
Hell yeah.
And those guys are fun. Brian owns a website called roommates.com.
Okay.
And that Roommates Murders, he's had that for 20 years.
Okay.
You'll have to talk to those guys too.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. So once you do that, what's an interview? I've always been curious about this. What's an interview like with I hate to
it's funny you say,
EKG?
yeah, no.
What's the interview process like when you're trying to become?
There's a million different interviews.
Really?
For every no, sorry, not for the same spot, but for anywhere. For them, they use an outside hiring company. For those guys, because they never met me. Why would you?
Right.
So actually. Man, I just know everyone, so it didn't even really matter. I went to the outside hiring company, and of course, I knew the guy that was running that.
Right.
And so it's like, but that was what it was like for there. Usually, you would be like, "Oh, no, you're good, you're hired." But they used, and so I was like, "Oh no, I got to go to this restaurant hiring agency." And luckily, this dude Dave was pretty cool, and like we knew all the same people. And I was like, "All right, well, let me just write down my references." And so I got that job, no problem. That's kind of like. I don't leave Scottsdale area, because this is the market I know.
Right.
So that was what it was like for them. For EEG, the company I work for now, same thing. I've just known them forever, and they've actually approached me before to work for them. But I was always just so happy with what I was doing. Like if you approach me right now, there's just no way you could get me. Period. Right. No amount of money.
Well, you're
like,
having fun, man. You got a good bar too.
Yeah, and I always say this as a joke. I'm like, well, if you love what you do, you'll never
never work.
People are like, what time are you going to work? I'd be like, well, if you love what you do, you'll never work. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd be like, so I'm going to work in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But I really do. Like, it's nuts. And so I'm like, I had a guy say to me the other day, listen, I know you're out trying to find another job. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I'm not ever.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly, like, am just so happy doing what I do now. It's so chill. Like, think about this. Like, I do it on the weekends. It's fun. It's awesome. I love it. Too much of one thing is too much. But, like, after Tuesday, I do a few meetings. I don't go to work until Friday night. And so it's like, that's almost 4 days where I'm just like doing whatever out here. You know, your podcast, or I have my fingers in a million things.
Yeah.
But it's not like none of it's work. Like, this is, I'm just out doing something, like, again, back to the beginning, just enjoying the fuck out of life. So like,
but what you do, you've cultivated over time. What you're becoming right now has kind of been something that you've tried from day one, between deciding to go to the military, to deciding to become work in this industry, to being the low end of the totem pole, to now going and being upper management. And it's just fun to see you, dude. Every time I see you, you're having a blast. I always tell people their brain is like a magnet. You're going to attract what you think, how you feel, what you tell other people, and that's what you bring. And that's why I wanted to have you on today, is because just not only to promote Skylanes.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, awesome. But to promote you, man, and to promote the type of things that you're trying to accomplish, and the type of people you're trying to have on your inner circle. It's awesome to witness.
Dude, what an inner circle.
You do. It's awesome, man.
Best friends in the world. I'm like, I tell my dad all the time, I'm like, man, I'm not good at being a friend, but I'm good at picking good friends. Like, I was like, my friends are amazing. I mean, you're an awesome guy, Dallas, and we barely even know each other.
I know. Well, we're homies now.
Yeah, but how crazy is that?
I know.
Imagine how, dude, I have the coolest friends in the world. Like, this is nuts. It's cool, and I'm just lucky like that. And like, they say, your friends are, they're the reason you do the thing. And I'm like, fuck. I say this all the time. I know you've heard it. It's like, oh, if you're the smartest person in the room, always be the smartest person in the room. And I'm like, fuck, I'm always the dumbest person in the room.
I think that's a better way, to be honest.
That's way better. Yeah. And that's kind of how it is. And any of my friends will tell you I'm the dumbest friend they have.
I don't know about that, bro.
I'm pretty sure.
Speaking of friends, you just came back. I was trying to pay attention to your social media. You just came back from a really dope music festival. What was that all about, dude?
Man, that was
You got some few shout outs here for what's your favorite band? Revolution.
all right. My favorite band's Catastro.
Okay,
Let's
sorry.
get that clear.
Oh,
No. But no. Hey, the Catastro guys are Andy is like just awesome. I love. He's just amazing. But Revolution.
We got to get him on here.
Yeah, he's got to. He might not talk as much as me, but he's
cool.
pretty awesome. Maybe
Yeah.
he'll sing.
That'd be awesome. Hell yeah.
And but Revolution, someone introduced me to Marley, the bass player, a few years ago, and Marley and I just hit it off right away. And we got each other's phone number, and he invites me to his concerts, and he like just treats me like royalty, and I go backstage and I bring whoever I want.
What?
Which is nuts. He'd be like, I could bring 50 dudes, and Marley will be like, there with Joel. He's so awesome like that. And so I'm not going to bring 50 dudes, Marley. But they did a festival, the Arizona Roots Festival down south in Chandler at Rawhide, and Marley's like, hey, he hit me up a few weeks ago, and he's like, hey, I'll be in Arizona Roots. I was like, oh, of course I'll be there.
Yeah.
And that was one of the best concerts I've ever seen. That was a few days ago. And then I'm sitting in the green room with Marley, and he's like, oh, this is Dante, and this is Dante from Grandma's Boy.
The GOAT.
And we're smoking weed with Dante, and then the lead singer of this band, The Expendables, this dude Jeff, and like we're just having a blast. And then I'm like on my Instagram, like being like, Dante, you're brown. He's like, I'm bronze. Like he's like doing lines from Grandma's Boy, and he's been in like all that.
Little Nicky, some guy just stole your stuff.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so that was pretty sick. That was just a couple days ago. Yeah.
What was that guy like, dude? What Dante?
He's
in all the Sandler movies, right?
Yeah, I guess they say, I think they use him because he's the same. Yeah, that's his character is his real life. Like that's his real life. Yeah. So, and he said he's loving Arizona. That was really cool meeting him. Thanks, Marley. That was awesome. That was cool.
Yeah, hell yeah. Well, anytime you get to meet somebody like that, dude, that's you go from
your spirit animal
just comes
kind
out
of person. Yeah, that was cool.
Well, Joel, let me ask you this. I want to ask you two questions. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Man, funny you asked that. I never thought I'd live past 33.
Yep.
I was telling you earlier, Jesus Christ died when he was 33. So I was like, all right, that's when I'll die. Or I'll get a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Fuck, I haven't seen a girl. But I turned 34 next week.
Happy early birthday,
so
brother.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Now it's like endless possibilities. I'm going to have to rethink this thing.
Yeah.
My 10-year plan, my 33-year plan's kind of come to an end.
Yeah.
So now life's just going to get better. So, yeah, I don't have an answer for that.
That's okay.
I'm just going to keep doing like I'm not. It's not like I don't have a 401k max Dimbo, but I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not trying to leave Skylanes. If we could keep this going for another 10 years, then that's my 10-year plan. I'm just extremely happy doing what I'm doing. I feel healthy.
Yeah.
If the coronavirus doesn't kill us all,
dude.
Hell yeah.
I said on the news today, you got to shave. You're supposed to shave your beard.
Oh, really?
The big thing today. But a goatee, right? Nikki's goatee is okay.
Come on.
Yeah. They said goatee is okay, but the beard's gotta go.
What?
Yeah. You can have a goatee, but you can't have a beard.
Come on.
I was
Who
like,
said
what?
that?
The news, they like put a graph together, and the graph was like breaking down what's good and what's not.
You know who's going to win this whole thing? I thought about it because, everyone's got to wear a mask because it's respiratory.
Yeah.
The Muslims.
Oh,
because they always cover their face. And they just
That's true.
I was like, they're gonna win. They're gonna win the whole.
They're gonna do it.
God damn it!
Damn it!
You're like Muhammad. Damn it! They're gonna win the whole thing.
Damn it! All right, Joel. So the other question that I kind of wanted to ask you, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer this either, but where do you see Scottsdale going with this entertainment that they've built up? Do you see it expanding, or do you be like they see it? Hey, we've got a good thing going. Let's keep it here because. A lot of my listeners have been to Scottsdale. They're coming down. Like next week, my best friend's bringing his bachelor party down here. And, I mean, especially in March, where we're in right now, is like the best month ever. Where do you see this thing going?
Expanding for sure. I don't see it as Vegas by any means because we don't, and which is a good thing. So, because we don't do the legal prostitution or the legal gambling.
Yeah.
So it probably won't get that big because, that's awesome.
open liquor, all that.
Yeah,
other shit.
but it's definitely going to get bigger, and maybe the laws will change. But there hasn't been many changes in laws around here that allow us to be. Vegas gets away with a lot, because they have a lot looser laws. But I mean, I don't know. I don't run any of that really. I just see it's just getting bigger and bigger. We all see it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
100%, dude.
who knows? I think a lot of the draw for Scottsdale, and the reason we get a lot of people is because it is much less expensive.
Yep.
Much less expensive to come party here than it is in Vegas.
Yep.
Or Canada. And on top of that, it's a lot more real.
Yeah.
So like, I remember one of my shittiest stories in Vegas when I first went to Vegas was like, I'm in an elevator with this girl that I just picked up because I was spitting game.
Yeah,
I'm like,
hell yeah.
I'm gonna fuck this girl.
Yeah.
And she's like, and I'm with two girls. And she's with a friend, and I'm like, ooh. And the girl goes, do you think you can afford us? And I was like,
what?
I was like, oh shit, I picked up hookers. They got me.
Womp,
and
womp.
so like, that's not a Scottsdale thing.
No.
That's not gonna happen to you, Scottsdale. Like,
No.
so that's one thing I love about Scottsdale, and it's a little more real to a point.
Yeah, 100%.
But there is a lot of smoke and mirrors, and they get smokier as we go. But right now, it's definitely much more real.
Well, that's why you come to Skylanes. They got the OG people.
100%. Yeah, we have a freaking crew up at Skylanes, and we hired someone recently to run our front door. This guy from Philadelphia doesn't know anyone in town, and I was like, I'm put you at the front door because you don't know anyone.
Yeah.
And that way you'll be there and you know what's going on upstairs, and you can kind of help sell tables. But like, everyone that works at Skylanes has been around for so long. Tao, Jack, Berlin, me, Alexa, Misha, everyone's just doing it for so long that it's like we can't stand at the front door anymore because everyone will want to. Honestly, it would be a little overwhelming. So
it's the all-star group.
It really is.
Yeah.
Like, Skylanes is like just a crew. Like, it's nuts, and it just gets better and better. So,
dude, the first time I met Alexa she was working at R&R. And I went there on a Sunday. And remember the old school R&R on a Sunday, just how crazy.
Yeah, the unlimited mimosas.
Oh, my God, dude.
You get a wristband or something.
You get a wristband, and they just come by and refill you up, and it starts at like 11 and ends at like 3. And Alexa was like working a back bar, and I just moved to Arizona. I knew a few people. It's like 4 or 5 years ago, and she just kept hooking it up, and it was just awesome.
Oh, my God.
Dude, that's the one thing.
Don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody.
She probably said that.
Sweet nothings.
You're putting it on your podcast.
Well,
hey, I'm gonna hook it up. Keep it between us.
Well, she hooked it up.
She got fired, I think. But she's still at Skylanes.
Alexa's the best. Shout out Alexa. All right, Joel. What I ask every person that comes on swim lessons, I want them to leave the listeners with something to take from this, something to help them get through the tough times, something that will push them to new limits. What's that something to you?
Oh wow, cool. Hey. Come to Scottsdale.
Yep.
Because you can find a place for cheap, real cheap, and you can wake up and enjoy this weather. You can go swimming, even when it's 120 degrees out.
Yeah.
And ultimately, you can work a shitty job, and it'll pay that. And when I say a shitty job, it's like, you work Circle K. You get minimum wage now is awesome.
Right.
And you can make $12 an hour. You can make $600 a week or something like that. I don't know how that math checks out.
Carry the 7, take away the 2.
Yeah, and not really be working. So again, right back to what I said. Like, the idea is to enjoy life, and so whatever you're doing, as long as you're enjoying it, keep doing it. And if you're not, there's a million other things to find that you can enjoy and get paid the same, if not more. Right. So right back, just come to Scottsdale. Cool. And I know that sounds like a shout out or a plug, but that is what has worked for me. And I left, actually, Scottsdale. I left after we opened Steak 44, and I was living in Santa Barbara, busting my ass, and I came right back to Scottsdale because I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, it was really that easy. And so it doesn't have to be Scottsdale, but I guess find your Scottsdale.
Oh, I like that. Find your Scottsdale.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself staying here for a while? I mean, I know I asked you 10 years.
Forever.
It's an awesome place, man.
It's my Scottsdale. So
yeah. Where do you go out for fun other than Skylanes? Where do you go, like, hole in the walls? Do you like?
Oh, I love trying different things around here, and that's what's so cool. There's always something. So my buddies, the other day, Hunter, my friend Hunter, Hunter Carreri, shout out Hunter.
Yeah,
him and his family have all these bars. Hunter's like, let's do something nice. Let's do something different. Our friend was in town. Logan was in town from Dallas, and I was like, cool. I was like, let's
What do you
try
wanna
this
do?
Century Grand that just opened over here. It's like a train that you get on.
Oh, I heard about that with the windows and shit that like change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we went, and it blew our mind. And I was like, we were sitting there. I was like, it's crazy how there's always something around here. Always. There's always something new. They just opened medieval times. And we got a freaking aquarium. And
Did you hear about that new lagoon pool that's coming?
I saw it. The wave
Dude.
pool. Yeah. The monsoon.
Monsoon pool.
Yeah. So.
What the hell is
Holy
that gonna
crap.
be like?
So yeah, if I'm not at Skylanes, I'm diving into something. There's a million things in town to do.
Right.
I mean, I am the king of telling you, like, fuck, I've been wanting to try that forever. Like, let's
Right.
go do this. Let's go do this. So.
Well, it's kind of interesting because like we talked about earlier, there's all kinds of celebrities that come through here. And I remember I was working in Old Town for my day job, and they were saying Post Malone was in town, and one of my buddies saw he was at
Rusty Spur.
Rusty Spur,
Yeah.
which holds like 25, maybe 30 people.
Maybe 30. Yeah.
And it's just a small hole in the wall, and he was staying in Phoenix for a few
I got
days.
a good Rusty Spur story.
Dude, go ahead.
I'll finish off.
Is that across the street from Walmart?
No.
it's-
Walmart's
it's
on Chaparral.
over by Patty's.
It's in the actual, it's right off of Main Street. It's like in the actual Old Town.
Yeah, it's in Old Town, the tourist trap. Dude, tell us the Rusty Spur.
My buddy Jazzy is African American, and he got a license plate on his car that says Agon, and it's nigga spelled backwards. And when you get those license plates, they give you two.
Okay.
What do they call them? What do they call those license plates? Vanity plates.
Yep, vanity.
So they give you two vanity plates. So he put one on his car, and he had the one in his trunk. And we're at Rusty Spur, and I go, dude, let's go get it and hang it on the wall.
Yeah.
No one will know.
Yeah.
So when you go to Rusty Spur to this day,
Look at
you look
Agon.
directly behind the singer. We put it up there hard. We got a screwdriver. We're a little drunk. We screw it up there, and it says Agon. And this girl, Tommy Lauren, very popular, blonde hair, political,
Oh, Tommy Lauren, yeah.
is sitting in the bar, and I have no idea, right? I just see a hot blonde, and I didn't know it's Tommy Lauren, right? The Tommy Lauren, right?
Yeah. The Trump supporter.
And
yeah.
we hung this license plate, and I'm like cracking up, and I walk up to her and I go, oh, how funny is that? And she's like, that's great that you guys hung. I was like, yeah, it's nigga backwards. And my buddy calls me. He goes, hey, you're on Tommy Lauren's story. And I was like, who's Tommy? What? I know Tommy. I was like, she was there. And they're like, yeah, she's got your own. And so you look, and she has like a video of me, because I'd been talking to her before we hung it, but I didn't know it was her. I was hitting on the only blonde girl there,
Yeah.
And I go, oh, she's probably gonna take me down after what I just said. And she took me down like 5 minutes later, like right off her story, because like I just hung. I was just like, hey, it's nigga backwards.
All right, man. What we'd like to finish off with here is kind of something called 10 for 10.
Okay.
And 10 for 10 are 10 questions, and you have to answer them quickly as possible. Okay.
Fuck.
Okay,
Come
buddy.
on, man.
And away we go. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Steak or shrimp?
Steak.
Favorite actor or actress?
Matthew McConaughey.
Hey.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
All right. Favorite TV show?
I don't know.
Anything.
All right. How I Met Your Mother.
Okay, cool. Favorite band?
Catastro.
Favorite city in the United States?
Scottsdale, Arizona. I already answered these.
I know. Sorry, buddy. What city in Texas has an NFL team nicknamed the Cowboys?
Dallas. We got a bottle blonde there.
Can you spell out the city in Texas named Dallas?
Dallys. S.
What city in Texas rhymes with palace?
Dallas Hanson.
Who is your favorite patron at Skylanes?
Dallas Hanson.
Joel, thank you for coming in, brother. I love you. We gonna go grab a beer after this?
I'm down.
All right, we're gonna go grab a beer. Episode with Joel is a wrap.
right.
Thanks, brother.
I told you it's gonna be a party.